Welcome to Gideon Grammar Booklet Level 1C. In this book, the student will learn to correctly use a and an, adjectives, capitalizations and commas, and plural and singular nouns. We will first take a look at a versus an. Use the word a before a word which begins with a consonant. We should use the word an before a word which begins with a vowel. So let's look at a couple of examples. First, we have the word monkey. M, which monkey begins with, is a consonant, so we would use the word a. Next, we have the word apple. Apple begins with a vowel, a. So here we would use the word an apple. You can also kind of remember it as the N is separating two vowels together. Next, we have doctor, which begins with a D, which is a consonant, so we would use a doctor. Then we have school, which also begins with a consonant, S, so we would use a school. Next we have orange, which begins with a vowel, the letter O, so we would use an orange. And then lastly we have elephant, which also begins with a vowel, so we would use an elephant. Next, we have singular and plural nouns. Singular means one, and plural would just mean more than one. So here it says a singular noun can be made into a plural noun by adding an S or ES at the end of that word. Here's an example. One school can be turned into two schools just by adding an S at the end of the word school. Next is a special rule with this concept. If the singular noun ends with an SH or CH, then add ES to the end of that word to make it plural. Here's an example. Here we have singular flash. In order to make flash plural, we add ES at the end of the word since it ends with SH. So we go from flash to flashes. Next, we have another example, but this one, the word patch, ends with CH. So, in order to make patch plural, we add ES at the end of the word since it ends with CH, and we go from one patch to four patches. Let's go ahead and move on to our next topic, which is adjectives. An adjective is a word that describes a noun. So, why are adjectives important and why do they matter in your writing? Well, using adjectives in your writing can help you to write more creatively by describing the things you're writing about. So let's look at an example of what this means. Here we have the sentence, a fish swam. Now this is a pretty boring, ordinary sentence. So in order to add a little more color to it, we can use adjectives, which are describing words. So let's say that we add the word purple in here to describe the fish. Then we have a purple fish swam. So we already used one adjective describing the color of the fish. So maybe we add another adjective to add more detail, describing the size of the fish. So we could use the word big. Now we have a big purple fish swam. So you can see how using adjectives helps to add more detail to your writing. So we start with kind of a boring sentence, a fish swam, and we end with a much more colorful and detailed sentence, a big purple fish swam. Let's move on to our next topic, capitalization and commas. Capitalize the names of cities, states, and countries. So here we have an example. Here's Dallas, Texas. Dallas is a city and Texas is a state in the United States. Make sure that we capitalize the first letter of any city or state. So you can see that the D in Dallas and the T in Texas are both capitalized. One more example below is Sydney, Australia, where Sydney is a city and Australia is the country. Notice how both of those have capitalized first letters as well, the S in Sydney and the A in Australia. Also very important, you must separate a city and state or city and country with a comma. So notice that there is a comma between Dallas and Texas, and there was one between Sydney and Australia as well. Each state has its own two-letter abbreviation. If you look in the back of your booklet, you can find a reference page with a list of every single U.S. abbreviated state. So be sure to capitalize both letters of an abbreviated state. And remember that an abbreviated state does not need a period unless it's ending a sentence.